Edinburgh is the capital city of Scotland. Now, Scotland itself has a rich history, and we will cover more of this as the years go by. But today, we are concentrating on the famous Edinburgh district. The earliest known human habitation in the area was at Cramond, a village and suburb in the northwest of Edinburgh. Evidence of a Mesolithic campsite was found here dating to 8500 BC. Traces of a later Bronze Age and Iron Age settlements have been found in other parts within the famous surrounding areas of Edinburgh. Amongst the many historic sites that can be seen today is the famous Edinburgh Castle. It stands on an extinct volcano of Castle Rock. And Edinburgh Castle has been witness to battles and bloodshed, and more often than not, ghosts. Here are just a handful of stories that come from the castle alone. Perhaps then it's no surprise, with its long history, that Edinburgh is said to be one of the most haunted locations in Scotland, and indeed Europe. And over the years there have been many reported paranormal sightings. Let's begin with the Headless Drummer. In 1650, servants noticed a mysterious little boy circling the castle courtyard, playing a drum. Upon closer inspection, they realised something was very, very wrong. He had no head. Too scared to approach, they let him play into the night. By the morning, he was gone. This tale goes on that in 1650 the phantom of a headless drummer boy was seen wandering around the castle walls, with his eerie music being heard by those below. Legend has it that whenever the drummer boy's ghost is spotted, the castle is about to come under attack, and perhaps he is alerting those in charge that a threat is on the way. He was spotted shortly before Oliver Cromwell and his army attacked Edinburgh Castle. But Edinburgh Castle hasn't been attacked for some time now, so that may explain why he hasn't been sighted by anyone alive today. No one knows who the boy was and why he now haunts the castle, but his apparition suggests that he was beheaded. No one will know for certain what happened to him. Maybe the Edinburgh University's Historic Reenactment Society can provoke his drumming once again. These Edinburgh boys aren't having much luck, are they? Early modern Edinburgh certainly put them through it for sure. Probably one of the most famous stories is that of Janet Douglas, Lady of Glamis. The story of Janet Douglas is a tragic story of revenge against an innocent young woman, orchestrated by the king at the time, James V, who succeeded by accusing her on baseless charge of witchcraft and poisoning. Her father, George Douglas, Master of Angus, went on to marry James V's widowed mother, Margaret Tudor, and virtually controlled the kingdom by claiming to be acting on behalf of the young James. After Douglas and Janet's brother fled Scotland, she was summoned to court on charge of communicating with her exiled brother, but refused to appear, and thus forfeited herself. She and her family were besieged in Glamis Castle, and then seized and brought to Edinburgh. Although a woman of high stature, she was accused of trying to poison the king, and also of witchcraft. Although it took torturing Janet's servants and friends to gain any evidence against her on those charges, sadly, nothing could save Janet, and on the 17th of July, 1537, on what is now the esplanade of Edinburgh Castle, she was burned at the stake with her 16-year-old son forced to watch. She was described as in the prime of her years, of a singular beauty, and suffering through all, though a woman with a manlike courage. After Lady Janet's execution, the Grey Lady began appearing in the castle. A knocking sound could be heard, and is thought to be the hammering of workmen building the scaffold which Janet was burned alive. Visitors to the castle have reportedly seen the ghostly figure of Lady Janet roaming the halls and weeping. Lady Janet's story was one of thousands of innocent women in Scotland would go on to share as they too became victims of Scotland's obsessive witch hunting. A short one that has been mentioned by many a visitor to the castle is that of the ghost dogs. Near the Argyle Battery, you'll find a burial ground for regimental mascots, the Dog Cemetery. If you listen closely, you might hear the sounds of distant pawing, barking, and if you squint into the summer har, you might even see the outline of a small black dog. Not quite corporeal enough to be real. Ask castle staff about it, if you dare. There have seen many a big and small hound that have been roaming the grounds, and howls have been heard from public and staff. It wouldn't be a story about Scotland without the sound of bagpipes, and these come from the lost piper boy. One ghost is said to be a young boy who played the bagpipes. This mystery dates back several centuries, when numerous tunnels were found under the castle that led to Holyrood Palace at the bottom of the Royal Mile. When the tunnels were discovered, there was great curiosity to see where the tunnels beneath the castle would lead. However, the entrance was only small enough for the local boy piper to get through. He was sent down to investigate. As instructed, he played his pipes loudly as he walked through the tunnel. Above ground, people were able to keep track of the young boy and trace his progress and map out where the tunnel went at the same time. The boy never returned to the surface, and search parties that were able to make their ways into the tunnel never found him or his pipes. Some say they can still hear the echoes of his playing. Many a visitor has been known to hear piping coming from under their feet, and also the distant sounding tunes being piped around the castle. Have you ever wondered what else might hide beneath your feet as you walk the streets of Edinburgh? Scotland has a wealth of paranormal history, and I for one would love to take a look and a walk around this historic battlement. I would love to hear the distant pipes and the melancholy beating of a drum. But my question is to you: have you ever visited this hauntingly historic place? If you have, I'd love to hear your stories down in the comments. If you have enjoyed this tale, then please consider leaving a like, and also subscribing for more haunted histories just like this one. But for now, as you tread the foggy castle, you may have to keep an eye out for the Grey Lady, or be careful not to startle one of the dogs, but you don't have to be afraid of what's behind you.